You're listening to Southeast Radio's Business Matters, with thanks to Wexford Insurances. Wexford Insurances. More information at wexfordinsurance.com.
My first guest this morning is Austin Codd, Sales Manager of the newly appointed Audi dealership for County Wexford. Good morning, Austin. Start off by telling me a little bit about your own background, please.
I suppose I'm originally from Rathnure, now living in Monageer. I went to National School in Rathnure National School. I moved on then to the Good Counsel College for secondary education. After leaving there, I would have served my time as a butcher in Wexford, and I was in the meat industry for roughly 10 years, and then an opportunity came for an interview for Dermot Boland in Enniscorthy Motor Company, and luckily I got that, and I'm working for Dermot ever since.
How long ago was that?
June 1999, so 13 years ago.
So you're in the motor trade now for a long, long time. During that time, there's been some radical changes take place in the motor trade. What, in your opinion, has been the most fundamental?
I suppose a number of things have changed. I suppose the shift from petrol cars to diesel cars has been a big thing with it. Another thing is technology. The cars are far more technical now, so they're far more difficult to work on than 20 years ago when cars were very, very straightforward. The level of spec that's on the cars has increased enormously as well. So there's a good few changes in the motor industry since I got involved in it.
From a technological perspective, I presume that has helped the main dealerships, because what it does is it takes the servicing of modern cars away from the likes of the corner garage as we would have known it in the past.
Well, it has become an awful lot more difficult to keep up with the technology in the cars. Our service staff have to go on numerous training courses just to keep up to date on that. So yes, it has brought the customers back to the garages more often, yes.
The shift to diesel cars from petrol, what has brought that about?
Maybe technology as well. Diesels, my first memory of a diesel car would have been a big noisy contraption, whereas now they're very, very quiet. They give you brilliant miles per gallon, and put that with a petrol car, okay, it's very quiet, but the fuel consumption wouldn't be near as good. So that's why diesels have very much taken off.
I know that last year we saw the end of the government scrappage scheme for the motor trade. What impact did that scrappage scheme have when it was in place?
It came in at a very good time to the motor industry because it really brought stability back into it. We would have had a period there after 2008 when everything just collapsed, that the motor industry would have been hit exceptionally hard. Nobody was buying a car. One reason because it wasn't fashionable anymore, because it was just it looked as if you were flaunting your money or whatever. So the scrappage would have encouraged people with older cars to move to a new car. They were incentivized to do it. But then, say if Jimmy down the road was after getting a new car, so Paddy up the road to say, well, sure, maybe I can go change my car now as well and it won't look as bad. So it would have put a lot of stability back into the motor industry.
Austin, I know that the motor trade industry has been hit very, very hard over the past few years. What has your own dealership done to overcome this challenge?
It was a big thing. We suddenly realised back in 2008 that these cars aren't selling the way we expected them to sell. So first of all, we had to have a look at prices. We had to also look at the type of car we were carrying. We're carrying expensive cars that maybe were petrol uneconomical cars for people to be driving, so we had to reduce them very quickly to a price where we can sell them and know not to maybe get in a volume of them anymore. Like we would have been carrying maybe 160 cars in the end of August 2008, whereas now we're only carrying, say, 60 cars. So there's a big drop on what we were carrying, the numbers of cars we were carrying as well.
I know that from speaking with owners of other service-related businesses that they've recorded increased sales over the past number of years, as I suppose people are more inclined to repair than replace goods today, especially more expensive goods. In that regard, have you seen an increase in the demand for your service aspect of the business?
Very much so. We would have seen a broader age of car coming into our service department now. One time people were changing their cars, like go back 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, people were changing their cars every 3 years. So it was only a 1, a 2 or a 3-year-old car you have in your workshop. Now we would have 5, 6, 7, 8, even 10-year-old cars. So you would be getting more service work, more timing belts, more repairs. And obviously you have to be very competitive because people will not put their business your way if you're very expensive.
Over the past number of years, I know that lots of motorists have gone to the UK and imported cars directly. Some rented to the tune of between 40 and 50,000 motorists per year. What are your thoughts on this?
The reason why people went to the UK to buy a car was because they saw value, and nobody would blame anybody for buying that value. So really what the Irish market had to do was to increase the spec, to reduce the price. So in other words, you were very much competitive with the UK market. Now, certain things have helped that as well. Like I suppose the euro has reduced in value, sterling is hard, and so that gap now, like for example, we would have went to the UK, we would have bought cars, we would have been offering them to our customers, but we haven't bought a car for 6 months from the UK. We just don't see value over there anymore. The range of car that's in Ireland now is very well spec'd. The prices are very, very competitive, and we would say moving forward now we'd like to think that it's all Irish cars that we're selling.
And what have you done to combat this yourself from your own dealership perspective? Because I know there must have been people coming in and pricing cars with yourselves and maybe heading over to the UK after to bring a car in. What have you done, I suppose, to educate the consumer in relation to some of the risks associated with that?
Well, I suppose examples of ourselves, we would have had people that unfortunately we just weren't able to deal with a couple of years back, and they would have purchased a car that brought them into our workshop for repair work and discovered that there is problems with the car. Maybe mileage wasn't correct, maybe got damage that they weren't told of previously, lack of warranty and things like that. So I suppose that in itself is educating people, and there's various different TV programs on explaining to people about what has happened in the past with customers. So it's not only ourselves that would be educating people, and it's the media have done it as well in the past.
Why is now a good time for somebody to trade up?
There's very good value out there now, but also I suppose it's the availability of money has very much come into play now. Like all the banks really are actively lending again. The manufacturers have got together with their own banks and making money available, because they know that if people don't have money, there's no cars going to be sold. So there is money available, and we could stress that yes, it is possible to get a loan now for a car. The quality of the cars are better now than they would have been 10, 20 years ago. They last a longer time. You have far cheaper running costs. Say, for example, the price of fuel now. Diesel is nearly the same price as petrol, but for a tank of diesel, you travel a lot further than a tank of petrol. So anybody that's driving 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old petrol cars, look at what your monthly payments are. That's really what it's down to. You have very, very good warranty. All cars are coming now with minimum of 2 years warranty. All used cars are coming with a minimum of a year's warranty. And put the fact that there's money available, it is a very good time to purchase a car now.
What's your own personal outlook for the motor trade industry over the next 3 to 5 years?
It's sustainable at the minute. We obviously had to make an awful lot of cuts over the last 3 or 4 years, be it on staff, unfortunately, on numbers of cars that we were carrying. But we're at a level now where it can be sustained. The growth, there's not going to be massive growth. Let's not cut ourselves. We're not going to all of a sudden sell hundreds of cars next year or the year after. But there will be a certain level of growth out there. Cars don't last forever. That's what I tell myself every morning when I get up. Cars don't last forever. People do need to have them repaired. People do like to change their car. People that work hard like to be able to drive something nice as well at the end of the day. So that's what is out there now, and that's what keeps me going. That's what gets me out of the bed in the morning, that there's an ability for us to provide a service to people that can be sustained over the number of years.
How serious are Audi as a brand in relation to Ireland?
Audi are very, very serious. They're so serious that they're actually putting the money where their mouths are. They're investing 80 million over the next number of years, creating new franchise, new dealers. Like for example, we will be building a new showrooms, new service area and all in the next couple of years. That's part of a stipulation of taking on board Audi. Also employment, like there's in the next couple of years there's to be 260 jobs created between Audi Ireland and the dealers. By 2015 they hope to increase that to over 500 jobs. While the building is going on, that could increase temporarily to maybe 800 jobs. So Audi are very much putting their money where their mouths are and investing 80 million over the next, I think it's 18 months.
That's certainly very exciting. I wish you the very best of luck with developing the brand across the county. Thank you very much for coming in and joining me this morning.
You're listening to South East Radio's Business Matters with thanks to Wexford Insurances. Wexford Insurances, #1 for business insurance in County Wexford.